Hi, everyone. So welcome. Most of you have met Mynoo, but for those of you who have not, we have a few new faces tonight. We have these calls every Thursday at 5:30 Pacific time, and the purpose of the calls is to bring us up to speed of what's happening in this day and age right now where we are navigating the unknown. And Mynoo, for those who you don't know, she is not just the spiritual wisdom, but she is a business genius herself and a serial entrepreneur. She was a movie producer, head of a tech company, an overall corporate mogul, and worked with some of the top 100 companies in the world. And I met her in Bali. Since then, she has been a friend, a mentor, and a guide to me for more than 10 years. She's taught me about manifesting, creating miracles in my own life, and living an extraordinary life, which is really the body of work that she's bringing forth right now to many people all over the world. So there's no accidents that I'm here in Maui. And yes, we are weathering the storm, so to speak. But when we look around, we just see amazing miracles everywhere. So I'm so blessed to have Mynoo join us. I'm going to let Mynoo take it from here. So take it from there, Mynoo.
Thank you. Thank you and welcome everyone. And, all of you from the US and Mary from Dublin, 1:30 in the morning. It's really my pleasure and privilege to be hosting and being at these gatherings. So today I'm going to close my eyes for a few seconds and then I'm going to open them and then share what's choosing to come through. So today where we are in terms of navigating the unknown is we have got to a point where, there is pretty much most of us know of one or two or several people. Certainly we have 1 degree or 2 degrees of separation from people who have, got the virus. But what is also happening, like last week when we came in, all we had was that presence that people had gotten it. And we'd also, many of us had also connected with 1 or 2 people who may have passed from it. This week, there is a little bit of a shift. And the shift basically is we are starting to also see that many that we had heard of that had got it have actually recovered from it or are recovering from it. So I'm seeing a very definite shift energetically. And this is happening across the planet where people are entering the space where, okay, if it, the reality is vast majority of people actually are recovering from this virus. The issue here is to get the pandemic under control, and people are starting to recognize that. What I'm also noticing across the world is, nature is continuing to rise and shine and reclaim itself all over the place. The most interesting evolution from the last few sessions that I've noticed as I scan the world, and I scan the world in terms of what's being covered in the media, as well as what is being shared, as well as through live cams that take us across the world. And I also scan it energetically. And it's the energetic scanning that I'm here sharing. The live cams have become even more beautiful. The cities and across the world couldn't look prettier than they do right now. So, take the time. There's lots of 24/7 live cams in many parts of the world that you would love to visit. My favorite, of course, that you heard me say before, is Venice. We've been traveling to other parts of the world as well. Energetic scanning is showing and it's a very powerful indicator, showing that people are starting to come home to themselves. People are starting to get to a point of an unconditional acceptance of what is. It's not happening across the board. However, there is a greater and greater and greater collection of humans that are getting to that space. And nature, the moment one person gets into that space of unconditional acceptance of what is, nature literally envelopes that person in okayness. So as a result, the multiplier effect, the amplification that happens of that unconditional acceptance of what is, enables humans to reconnect to the beingness of who they are. And a memory awakens, and they start experiencing the expansiveness of the soul being that is residing in this human body. A light gets turned on. But you may go through a phase, and you may have people that are going through a phase where they just know that they have to switch on the light. They know that they have to switch it on. Nobody else is. And they may be in that panic, can't find the light bulb. It's not yours to do right now. It's literally for each one of us, it is come home to you, come home to you, come home to you. Hold the space for the rest of humanity to also land. The more each one of us get to a place of being whole and complete within ourselves, the more nature envelopes us in its okayness, the more purity there is in that vibration of being whole and complete, feeling okay, connecting to the expansiveness, and that holographically multiplies across the planet. So just like fear multiplied, and it multiplied so fast, we are now getting to a stage where each one of us can play our part in multiplying that uplifted understanding of who we really are. The next phase of this is a recognition by each person of the power that they embody within themselves. Phase after that is each person getting into their own rhythm, getting into an attunement of their own rhythm. And when that happens, when you are in tune with your own rhythm, dance is a very powerful way of getting into that rhythm yourself. And how wonderful, right? That our political leaders from across the world are actively encouraging these concerts to go online all over the world, which helps us get into an attunement of our own rhythm. So when you get into your own rhythm, your body is in your own rhythm. And prior to getting into the rhythm, you've already got into a space of connecting to the soul being that you are. You've switched on your light. And prior to that, you have got the unconditional acceptance of what is. What it does is it literally lights up a remembrance in each and every organ in your body, where the organ remembers its originating intent. And the moment it gets to remember its originating intent, it starts to recalibrate. And you'll find as we emerge from this, many chronic conditions that people have faced, they'll actually be gone. Because so many of these chronic conditions were held in place due to vibrational issues. And here, which is why I say, very soon the corona virus will be talked about as the COVID phenomenon because of what it is enabling already. And I'm explaining it to you in this step-by-step way. And nobody even needs to know. That's the thing. That's the exciting part of it. You don't need to explain it to anyone to get it, for them to do anything. You just show up. And you just show up every single day. And actually, if you start showing up every moment, then you actually start getting even more present to who you are. The gift that is being available to us is to give ourselves the present that we have been waiting for. And it's the present of our own presence. In fact, it goes even further, the present of being present to our own presence. And that then leads to presencing our own presence. And you can only presence your own presence when you are whole and complete, feeling completely nurtured. There's a realization that is dawning on people. I said that I was going to share 2 of the 7 pathways that I have received very clearly of navigating the unknown. And we are looking at how we make all of the 7 available to you. So bear with us. You will hear about it further along the line. But 2 of the 7 pathways that I'm guided to share here today. The first one is trust. The trust frequency, is very high right now. And the exciting thing for me, when I observe energetically, doing this energetic scan across the globe, when I say across the globe, I go cell by cell by cell across the globe. It's not just human. It's literally what is playing out energetically, vibrationally, and if there is anything that is off, where is it off? That sort of scanning that happens. So when I scan, and the trust frequency was first anchored on this planet coming from a space of fear. People started trusting the fear, right? And that was utilized, which got people to then say, oh, okay, we've got to do something about this. The social distancing and stuff is not just a gimmick, So they started trusting in the fear messages, But the divine took over. Divine hijacked it. And it started running its agenda in parallel. And it was like, okay, trust is one of the key pathways of navigating the unknown. And this time, from a divine plan perspective, the trust frequency is already anchored on the planet. It may have been anchored because of fear. However, the frequency is the frequency. Right? You can apply, once something is anchored, you can apply it to anything. So now what it is being applied to is, as more and more people across the planet have started isolating themselves, what it is being applied to is a trust in you. Who else are you going to trust right now? Trusting fear, well, what did it do? Okay, it just got you anxious, but it did get you, its entire role of that anxiousness was to bring you home, get you present to being still. For a few years, I've been saying it's the stillness retreat that we require. Catherine, remember? And I didn't have to do it. I just anchored it and it's happening, Stillness is what people are being presented with. And in that space of stillness, the trust frequency, utilize it. Utilize the trust frequency. It's already there. And this time, rather than talk about you can't trust the government to do this or something else to do something else, or you can, whatever stories you might have, just, it's fine, whatever is there, the trust frequency applied to you, and when you apply the trust frequency to you, it has a knock-on effect. And the knock-on effect is you start getting present to, you matter, I matter. I have something valuable to contribute to my life. I don't have to look outside for gratification. I can actually experience fulfillment, which is quite different. It's very powerful. Just know one of the pathways of navigating the unknown is trust. And this time it is all about leveraging the trust frequency that has already been anchored. And it is about trusting in you, in your judgment. You take the call of what goes, what doesn't go. And you choose that which is the best for you. What I'm also noticing as I scan the planet, there's some tensions that are developing in terms of relationships right now, that they've gone to a level where people are, there's a higher majority of people feeling the tenseness in the relationships, but there's a big big proportion, it's not a vast majority yet, but there's still a big proportion that has come out the other side and starting to actually just see each other and accept each other for whatever, whoever they are, accept their habits and stuff, and just finding ways in which to entertain themselves by being with each other. I'm noticing, scanning the globe, less and less and less people are glued to their TVs or even Netflixes. There is a reduction in that. When I scan, I'm noticing it. And it gets visible when if you are on groups on WhatsApp messages and stuff, you start noticing, I mean, I'm certainly noticing a great shift in messages. And this whole thing about people are logging into, listen to concerts online. That in itself is a shift in habits and how that is showing up. And the concerts that are being played out are of a very different vibe. The vibe in these concerts is one of divinity. The key thing for everyone to know that is on this call and whoever else gets to hear this is the divine is running its plan in parallel, and in fact, it's gaining ground. So even forces that might be command and control forces are putting on these, and really encouraging these shows, and people are signing up to it. And the music is not headbanging music as such. It's something that is there for everyone, but it's really honoring the divinity in us. And really what we are looking to achieve, when I say we, I'm speaking, spirit language here, what we are looking to achieve between now and next week is have vast majority, get to that critical mass of humans where they get back their remembrance of dignity. And dignity is honoring of your own worthiness. The moment that remembrance clicks, there's a very definite shift in the recovery and resurgence of not just humanity, but this planet itself. It's going through there are few of us that have been doing some very powerful planetary work. We've taken this opportunity to start anchoring the blueprint of a new world into being. So we gather and we've been anchoring the healthcare system, the economic system, and many, many other features. They have been anchored already. So the moment that shift happens, what has been anchored surfaces. Yes, it will have an impact on many institutions no longer being required. But if you look at some of the foundation of some of the institutions came from a need that was there at that time. United Nations was created to ensure that we didn't have the wars and stuff and what that created. We have the new norm is taking hold. And in its taking hold, it is giving us a very good indication of what are the ingredients that have come together to create a whole new foundation. And the ingredients that have come together to create this whole new foundation are one of collaborative co-creation of coexistence. The announcement yesterday of some of these major nations coming together, spearheaded by the Canadian Prime Minister. If you look at each of those nations, the US, Russia, many others that have come together, they've all been in a space of conflict or have been seen to be propagators of conflict. And they've come together to together find solutions for this situation that the world is experiencing and to ensure something like this does not occur going forward. So when I began, I'm going to come to the second pathway in a minute, and this is all really contributing for you to get that trust anchored in yourself. When I began talking about this, I talked about fear being the primary contagion. Fear as a frequency in its negative form is the biggest damager of our immune system. There's a second thing that comes very close to fear, and that is conflict. And, so we've experienced conflict, in the world. What this is enabling us to do, this is the second pathway of navigating the unknown. What this COVID phenomenon is enabling us to do is it's enabling us to get to a point of unconditional acceptance of what is. The interesting thing is how it is enabling us to do that. You can say, oh, let's just put our blinkers on, everything's going to be fine, it's all going to be, marvelous, and there'll be an internal conflict. Because there's a part of us that's anxious. As we hear this thing pan out, as we hear that, oh, it's extending beyond the time scale that we expected it to, right? That internal conflict is very alive. So we have that inner contagion. Even if we've gotten over fear, the conflict, internal conflict, becomes an active contagion, and that starts to damage our immunity. What this phenomenon is enabling us to do is for everyone to accept, and many of you are already, which is get real. Get real. Get real. And get real equals what's here right now that's going on. Get real and look at what's going on right now. How do I feel about it? Without judging. And you don't need to wallow in it. You don't need to dwell in it. A feeling that we have. That feeling can change in a moment, should we choose that to happen. So feel it, feel what you feel, and make a conscious choice of unconditionally accepting what is. That literally just drops off cloaks of anxiety and anguish or anything at all that has been keeping us cased in, just literally just flies away from you. And you're liberated. Those of you who were there when we first began these calls, I said at the time, the cocoons have gone. They're broken. You're broken out of the cocoon. You already are a butterfly. A butterfly can't stay still anyway. So it's going to flap, and it flaps initially. That whole birthing, that last bit of birthing, even as a baby, those of us who are mothers know what it takes for a mother. Can you imagine what a baby is going through? The same thing happens to a butterfly when it comes out of the cocoon. It's a massive process of change that takes place. Once it's out, it just has to keep flapping its wings. Initially, so that's what has happened with us. The cocoons have burst open. We are out. And, there was all this fear and all that stuff. So there's a bit of flapping of the wings going on. Now you can fly. Release that inner conflict by getting real. You don't release inner conflict by just unconditionally accepting what is, because you just won't be able to. This is not ostrich style head in the sand time. This is literally just rise. You are rebirthing in terms of a remembrance of what it is to be human. The human form is really all about love. The vibrational frequency of human is love. If you just allow yourself to be, you will enter that vibrational frequency. And you will enter it really fast because the trust frequency has already been anchored on the planet. The amplification and the multiplier effect of what is now enabled is phenomenal. So choose just these two for now. Trust in you, get real, unconditionally accept what is, and allow yourself to surface from there. And whatever you feel, honor the feeling. And when you do that, you honor your own worthiness. When you do that, you reconnect to one of the three things that we were born with, which is dignity.